I'm going to be teaching you how to get damage fast right now. When it comes down to building your characters in Wuthering Wave, just focusing on attack in the early game is good enough, which you can see currently I have 14-14 off. There's a lot of different stats in this game, like crit, damage percent. You don't have to worry about too much of those. For the early game, focusing on attack is good enough. Leveling your character to the highest level possible, as well as your weapon to the highest level possible, is going to be the most important factor. This is because they give base attack, which is this white number. This base stat is then multiplied by all your other multiplier, which means that if your base stat is low, the rest of the stat is going to be low. So make sure your base stat is high up by leveling up your characters and your weapon first. If you don't know what weapon to level, looking for a 4-star weapon with a damage substat is going to be the best, whether that be attack or crit. For the most part, it's just going to be attack because crit weapons are very hard to acquire. If you don't have any 4-star weapon, then using a 3-star weapon is okay. Leveling up your skill is also going to be one of the more important things because they can get you higher multiplier. Now, when you come down to the skill tab, you can see a lot of things. For the most part, I would only worry about leveling your basic attack, your skills, your forte circuit, as well as your liberation. Now, there's a lot of these small notes at the top of your skills. To be honest, none of these are important that you don't have to worry about them right now. They cost way too much material and the gain is not that big. They're only really for like perfecting your characters. Other than the two in the middle, the two big skills in the middle are going to be new inherent passive that you get for your characters, and depending on the characters, it could be very important to level as fast as possible. For example, when it comes to my Verena, the first inherent passive allows my entire party to get a 20% attack buff whenever I cast a Starfire Bloom. That is extremely good, that is extremely important because it gives you so much damage to your entire party very easily, so that would be one of the first skill you level, for example. However, in comparison, I wouldn't level any of the skill on my Verena because she's a support and I don't really care about her doing damage. So I'm mostly focusing all my resource into my main damage dealer, Danji, instead. Now, I'm sure you're already familiar with all of these basic tips, leveling your characters, leveling your weapon, because you're subscribed to the channel. What I'm about to give you is the advanced tips on how to build your echoes. So pay attention, listen up, get your note ready. When it comes down to building your echoes in the early game, you don't have to care about the set bonus too much. It is very hard to piece together 5 pieces of the set bonus. For the most part, just look up for the main stat. That's going to be the stat at the very top right. And just look for a stat that are like attack, look for a stat that are like damage bonus, and crit rate are going to be really good. There's actually a method to acquire these 5-star attack echo early on, even before you unlock them in your data bank. There are these special enemies that will drop you 5-star echo early, guaranteed. And I have a completely separate video on every single one of their location in the game, so go ahead and go do those. Make sure you're not making the mistake of building crit damage. Crit damage is not very good in the early game. That is because you don't have enough crit rate to actually utilize it. You always want to be focusing on building crit rate first before you invest into building crit damage. So don't make the mistake of building crit damage right now. Ideally, you build crit rate and crit damage in a 1-to-2 ratio, which means for 1 crit rate you have, you build 2 crit damage. Now that's a little complicated to understand, but don't worry because I'll have a complete build guide later on. Now, another really easy way to gain damage is actually to use the boss echo. That's not only because they come with a very powerful effect that do a lot of damage, but most importantly, if you don't know, is that after you cast their skills, it actually increases your character stats. So for example, if you use the ice boss echo, which is whatever you pronounce this one, you can see that each shock will increase the current character's glacial damage by 4% and increase their skill damage by 4%. So for example, in this case, that means just by using the boss echo ability, you can gain 12% ice damage bonus and 12% skill damage bonus, and that is a lot of stats. So make sure you're using your boss damage echo. Now, one of the best boss damage echo to actually use in your entire game is actually going to be the Herald. That's because if you use this echo and then you switch out to different characters by using their outro skills, the next character get a 12% damage boost. So what you want to be doing is to build an outro on one character, use this echo ability, and then switch out. And this gives the next character that switch in a bunch of damage boosts. Conveniently, this built into the Sonata effect set, which when you have 5 pieces of it, when you use a outro skill, it gives the next character that come in a 22% attack buff. When it comes down to building your support character in the early game, like Verena or any other character that is not your main DPS, what you want to do is just put the 5-piece Moonlight Cloud on, and then use the Heron as your main ability echo, and that's it. You don't have to care about their stat. You know, on my Verena, I'm using like arrow damage bonus, I'm using defense. You don't even have to care about their rarity. It doesn't have to be a 5-star. It's fine to use a green color echo. All you care about is to put all 5 pieces of Moonlight on it, so that you can get the set bonus, as well as put the Heron ability echo on your main slot. And just by doing this, you can give your next character a massive amount of damage, which is going to be your main DPS. Just to quickly summarize the info up to this point, for your main DPS, don't care about the stat bonus, but rather care about the stats. On your support, don't care about the stats, but care about the stat bonus first. You're gonna fix everything late game and eventually switch all of them out, but for now, that's good enough. Now, when you have no stat bonus, here's actually a secret technique that allows you to get damage quick, and that is you actually build 4 free cost echo. The reason why you do this is because so that you can get 2 damage bonus echo and then 2 attack echoes. But more importantly is that these free cost echo come with 100 attack on the second line, while even if you build your 1 cost echo to plus 25, they only give you HP. One of the biggest reasons why this works right now is because you're low level and so you're low base stat. So therefore your attack percent multiplier is not as meaningful. Where if you were to just build a free cost echo, they give you plus 100 attack each flat. And so this is a very quick way to just get a bunch of attack. You can optimize a little bit by trying to go for what we call a 2-piece set bonus. While it is extremely hard to acquire all 5 pieces of a Solitaire effect, you can instead go for just the 2-piece itself, which still give you a little bit of stats. And since you have 5 echo that you can equip, or even if you're running the free strat, you have 4 echo that you can equip, that means you can run 2 of the 2-piece set bonus at the same time, which usually is going to be your damage bonus and your attack bonus. The Lingering Tunes effect gives you 10% attack bonus, extremely universal, so this is one of the first Solitaire effect you should aim for. The other effect you should aim for is, generally speaking, it's going to be your elemental damage type. So on a Havoc set, for example, you would look for the Havoc damage bonus. On a Thunder characters or Thunder set, you would look for a electro damage bonus and stuff like that. When it comes down to the main stat on your free cost echo, you can run either attack or damage bonus. Now, damage bonus is going to be better, but the problem with it is going to be that it is a lot less universal. Because damage bonus is only corresponding to the damage class that you're on. So for example, this is Havoc damage bonus. I can only use this on the Havoc characters. I wouldn't be able to switch this to my other characters if I want to play them, like for example, my Spectre Rovers. So a better idea, also one that's probably easier to farm, is to probably mix and match, where you can mix 2-piece attack main stat with 2-piece Havoc damage main stat, for example. It is technically better to just do full damage bonus for now, but the difference is not that big, so you might want to consider doing like 1 attack piece with 3 damage piece, or maybe even 3 attack piece with 1 damage piece, just so that you can transfer these echo over to your other characters. If you want a very universal setup, you can actually do a 4-4-1-1-1 setup, where you have 3 1-cost echo with attack on them, and then 1 4-cost echo with crit damage main stat, 1 4-cost echo with crit rate. This allows you to basically transfer over the echo to every single character that you use, meaning you only have to build 1 set of echo. In the end, your main goal is always going to be to work toward the 4-3-3-1-1 setup, just because it is the best, but that's only really the best when you can get all 5 pieces of the Solitaire effect. Otherwise, using something like 4-4-1-1-1 or even 3-3-3-3 is very comparable. So I highly suggest people to try to aim for those right now for the early game, because again, the topic of this is how to get damage fast. And I think this is worth doing because it'll take you probably a long time to hit unit level 40, as it takes 6,000 EXP per unit level at this point. And so it'll be a long time before you're able to ascend your character to level 70, including your weapon, where you start increasing the base stats, and therefore attack percent is going to start valuing more and more before the flat attack that you get from these. So honestly, it'll be a while until your 3-3-3-3 setup kind of get outdated, and you have a lot of time to work toward that. So that's what my recommendation for now. With that being said, that's pretty much it. Subscribe as always. Check out my Twitch, where I'll probably be challenging the hardest content starting from now on with my new 3-3-3 setup. See you all later.